when people get divorced, that's nothing to celebrate.
Justin don come across say divorce no be something wey dem dey celebrate. If you say you no wan do again for marriage matter, no be the kind thing wey dem dey celebrate. But we no know wetin dis woman don go through for the man hand now, or wetin the man don go through from the woman hand wey the woman dey celebrate. Na only God know.
That represents a failure, and I hate failing. So if you're celebrating a divorce, personally, I think everyone loses. When two people get married, it's two people that are supposedly in love, and they want to spend the rest of their life together. So one family and the other come together, and you have a ceremony, and the two families become one. Okay? So, and then eventually that leads to children in most cases. So, that represents a big family unit, which is what I always wanted personally. And when two people separate, it's not just two people getting divorced, then there's kids, then there's two families. So that represents a breakdown in the family structure. So that's not something that actually should be celebrated. Now, I'm not saying you should stay in a toxic marriage where you're unhappy and miserable, but the point is that the reason why divorce is failure is because there's obviously love between two people, and as things start to break down, it's very apparent in society these days that people don't have the communication skills, people don't have the accountability, responsibility that it takes to remain married. Now, obviously this is not the case in all circumstances, but I've seen things on the internet like people doing divorce parties and celebrating being single and everything else. And to me, that's a terrible message to send to my daughters, because I'm trying to raise my daughters in such a way that they have the skills necessary to maintain a marriage. Because marriage is work. You know, it's not something that you go in thinking that, oh, if it doesn't work out, I'll just get divorced because I'll just move on to the next thing in life. And if you have that kind of mentality, it's almost more like a transaction. It's like this person's going to elevate me in one way in life, and then when it no longer works, I'll just divorce them and do it again. It's kind of like steps on a ladder. And that's not a message I want to convey to my daughters. So did I start all of this? Yes. But that doesn't mean that I'm happy with the end result. I'm not going to go and dance on the dance floor and pretend like I have been unaffected or unbothered, nor would I want to display that message to my daughters, because what kind of message is that conveying to them about what marriage is, especially if they have kids? So that's kind of, I was really thinking about this last night. I was sitting out, listening to the beach and just thinking about this, because, I don't think celebrating failure is a message that I want to convey to them. Is failure part of life? Of course. Is failure some part of growing as a human? Of course. But if you fail in business, if you fail any other aspect of your life, you're not going to go out and celebrate with your friends. My business failed. I'm broke and bankrupt. Let's go have a beer and celebrate our great failure. You know, so that's kind of what I convey. Am I happy? Yes, I'm happy. But from a outward projection standpoint, this is a failure, and I don't like to fail. So in general, I'm sort of worried about where society's going. I mean, you see it in celebrities all the time. They marry and divorce. So,